As for the Kremlin, however, it said this: the Russian government interfered in the 2016 presidential election in sweeping and systematic fashion. But here's how President Trump described his talk with Putin on Friday about 2016 and about possible meddling in 2020. Take a look.
He actually sort of smiled when he said something to the effect that it started off as a mountain and it ended up being a mouse.
Did you ask him not to meddle in the next election?
We didn't discuss that. Really, we didn't discuss it.
Why doesn't the president get tough with Putin about what everyone seems to agree is clear, meddling in 2016 and the threat of meddling in 2020?
Chris, this administration has been tougher on Russia than any of its predecessor administrations. I could go through the list, but there's not time in the show to talk about all the things we've done. Our largest defense buildup, our new, I mean, the list is long, Chris. And so for you to suggest that somehow we haven't taken election interference seriously, we do. We continue to work on it. We continue to make sure that every election is as safe as it can possibly be. The Department of Homeland Security, the intelligence agencies, all working to not only ensure that 2018 was successful, we were, and that 2020 will continue to be successful. We take seriously the threat of election interference from every country, Russia included.
But I guess what I'm asking, and I take your point, because in terms of specific policies, the U.S. government...
So, Chris, I don't get your point.
Well,
I'm confused.
Well,
I'm confused.
Let me make it.
You're looking at the administration that has been tougher on Russia than any of its predecessors, and yet you continue to be fixated on something that Robert Mueller wrote down. I struggle with that.
I'm not fixated about Robert Mueller. I'm fixated on the president's conversation with Vladimir Putin, and the fact that in a conversation he doesn't even mention meddling in 2020. And the question I'm asking, I think it's a legitimate one, a lot of people are asking it, sir, is why not?
I talk to leaders all the time. We cover a broad range of subjects. Sometimes conversations just aren't long enough to include every issue that might be brought up. I'll let the White House talk to what the president actually said in the set of remarks, but no one should misunderstand from your question today. Your viewers should not be misled. This administration has taken seriously the threat of election interference and will continue to do so.
This is Trump's Secretary of State Mike Pompeo carrying water for Trump after he declined to even bring up meddling in our last election during his call with Russian President Vladimir Putin. And I understand that you don't always have time to bring up everything, but it seems a little strange not to bring up that time when his country launched a cyber attack on our country. Seems like something that might have made it to the first half of the agenda. In fact, to ask about literally anything else when the Mueller report showed conclusively that Russia systematically interfered in our election is just insane. Pompeo claims that this administration has done more to counter Russia than any other administration, that he could list them all, but he wouldn't have enough time, which sounds strangely familiar to the strategy that Trump used to confront Putin about election interference. He must have just had too much to say and simply didn't have time to say a single word about it. And look, the answer to why Trump didn't press Putin on election interference is clear. Putin helped Trump win, and that's all Trump cares about. And if you're looking for integrity from Trump, I think that's filed away between birtherism scandal and paying off porn stars for his affairs while his wife was at home pregnant with their son. Trump holds loyalty in higher regard than anything else, and if it means sacrificing our democratic institutions in the process, so be it. And the effects of Trump's fear to stand up to Putin are twofold. One, it gives the Kremlin tacit approval to do it again. We already know that Russia tried to gain access to election systems in 2018, and the intelligence community has already warned that they'll try to do it again in 2020. Trump's not only refusing to take any action, but his move to actually lift certain sanctions against Russian companies with links to Putin after he ordered election meddling is not exactly the precedent that we want to set if we're trying to, maintain our sovereignty. And two, it puts on full display Trump's deference to Putin. You'd think that a branding genius like Donald Trump would know better than to legitimize Putin's ill-gotten power to the entire world. And yet, here we are. And while we shouldn't expect anything more from Trump, to see Pompeo sell out so completely when a hostile foreign adversary is in the literal midst of attacking our country is a testament to just how little the Republican Party cares about anything other than holding power. While Pompeo claims that the White House has been tough on Russia, the fact is that the entire Republican Party has not only not been aggressive on Russia, but has actually countered Democratic efforts to do so. Republicans have actually blocked funding to bolster election security that would have helped to replace outdated voting equipment and fund cybersecurity efforts. That's like identifying mental health as a major factor in mass shootings and then cutting programs to address it. Oh. So this White House can continue to baselessly claim that they're doing everything they can to send a strong message to Putin to ensure that it doesn't happen again. But the fact is that if Trump couldn't even manage to bring it up, that tells us everything we need to know about how seriously he's taking it.